Oh my gosh, I didn't even think he. Hello? Okay, we're good, we're live. Like I was saying before, knowing that I was muted, this should be a short playthrough because I don't think we only have a few more stories left, as you can see. We got Milton, Lewis, Dawn, Odin, and Edie. I'm not sure if we found them all, but let's go. So we climbed all the way up here. Have we gone up there? I don't recall. It's a bit rickety. Damn. I'm kind of fearful at the moment because after finding out that she's pregnant. Lewis.
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Legalize marijuana. Okay. Oh god. I always forget how to use the controls.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Mm. Familiar is a word, alright.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
And maybe in our real life too. This is a nice little setup they had going on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery.
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh wow. I have to do two things
I
at the
asked
same
him
time.
to describe it.
That
He
is
said he
crazy.
started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
So confusing to do things at the same time.
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery, I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Dog.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Token. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made
It's probably my
musicians.
favorite story.
And songs for them to play.
Oh, he's smoking.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished.
What does that mean?
He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Lewistopia.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
This is so fun.
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents. Oh, it's too late, I guess. We're gonna go for radiant
radiant
rainbows.
rainbows. He followed the sound of her
Electric guitar.
electric sitar.
Oh, sitar, not guitar.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Do you see how...
My imagination...
Sorry, do you guys notice how slowly and slowly the real world has become engulfed by his imagination? Now all we see is fish.
It is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
No detail which duck is ours. Imperial Palace. Get some Chinese food. No.
Began to forget the world we know.
Oh my god. Don't tell me he falls inside one of these things.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Hello? This is himself. It's not doing anything.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
There's a cat.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Mad thing. Killed himself. Wow, that was extremely dark. And heavy.
On the way
Very
back
heavy.
from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
Wow. Why would she do that?
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
It's too much. In one home.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Whose is this? Disaster relief. Sanjay Kumar. My father's belongings.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
This place has so many nooks and
But it had
crannies.
to end one way or another.
Wow.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's
there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Where'd she go?
After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Oh dear.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you, but now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Yikes.
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
It's different. Wow.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
So guys, do you think she passed away during childbirth?
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
have some stories missing. I don't know where they are, but I'm going to find it.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Never did get the key from up there.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
We need to Odin and Milton. It wasn't water, it wasn't gas. It was Lewis.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
I think there's a way to come back down if we go up here. Nope. Yo. I'll get down. Yes. This is her other brother's room. He was an artist. He liked architecture. Don't these these palaces look like the ones. They look like places we was walking through when we were, what's his name? Lewis. That's really cool. He must have really loved his brother's drawings. The magic paintbrush. Just says 1992. I wonder if he ran away. I guess we'll never know. Should Google it, guys. Find out if there's a story for Odin. Ooh. There it is.
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan.
Oh dear.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edith, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Well,
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Well, Molly was their daughter.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
That's the last of it, I think. There's nothing to write about Milton because he disappeared.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Is there a story for Milton? Gotta be specific on Google. Edith Finch. There is, you know. But where is it?
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh, I wish there it is.
was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Well, that's it. There you have it, guys. That's the end of that. We managed to get all the stories. I think this game was a little bit sad. I don't know what you guys think, if there really was a curse. I personally do kind of feel like there is. Or, like Edie said, they were afraid of death so much, or bad endings, that they lived in fear pretty much their whole lives. I mean, a lot of the deaths are pretty like tragic, but I think that's just I think they're just trying to depict life. Like, nobody really knows how they're gonna go out. Everybody hopes that they'll be really old and grey and surrounded by family, but it's not always that way. Like, life doesn't always end the way that we want it to, just for me. And it's like, no one ever really truly wants to die, because you don't want to let go of what you know. Like, life is scary because it's unknown. Not even scientists can tell you. And that's why we have so many different beliefs about the meaning of life, how you should live it, in hopes that there's going to be something after. You know? I think we look at a lot of things in life and think that, oh, that can never be me. That can never happen to me. And then unfortunately things do happen, and you just have to deal with it. You know? I mean, there were a lot of young deaths in the family, which is unfortunate. I mean, what happened to Odin, I think, scarred him for a while. For the rest of his life, actually. So he probably thought he has to pass on this idea of being safe, or that Finches have this curse. I don't know, do you guys believe that you can manifest your beliefs? The more you think about something, the more it's likely to happen. There's an element of spirituality involved in this. I think it's left to the viewer. But all in all, I think it was a great story. It was amazing, in fact. It was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, but as usual, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. More story during games on the way. As usual, I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Goodbye.